Millions of Americans are being duped by the credit card industry. But today, I'm going to give you the facts. Okay, so I've been doing this job for about a decade now, and one of the questions I always get is, how do I live life without a credit card? And to me, that just shows the power of how our culture has convinced us of the lie over decades and decades that you have to have a credit card. I mean, think about it. 60 years ago, rarely did anyone have a credit card. And now on average, people carry around 4 credit cards. Yes, and a lot of people, they sign up for them because they have them for emergencies or it's better protected than cash, all the excuses, all the things. Now listen, on the flip side though, I'm seeing people, 78% of people living paycheck to paycheck. And a big reason of that is because of debt payments. So something is not adding up. Something is not working. So if you are tired of not having enough money in the bank or worrying about not having enough money to cover an emergency, I want to help you. But the thing about credit cards is that they might make you feel like you're temporarily not living paycheck to paycheck. Maybe you don't even know what it feels like to pay for groceries or gas with your own money because it goes on a credit card that you'll pay next month. But the truth about breaking the cycle of bad spending habits and building wealth is that credit cards are hurting you. They are not helping you. So today, I'm going to debunk all the reasons you think you need a credit card, and then we're going to break down the reality of the credit card problem in our country today. And this is such a huge topic, you guys. The credit card topic, it's massive. So in this episode, we're going to focus on why you don't need a credit card. And next episode, we're going to talk about how to get out of credit card debt. So we got a 2-parter coming up. Get ready. So in this episode, we're going to talk to a couple who bought a house without a credit score. Yep, that's right. No FICO score. That's right. Because a lot of you think you need to get a credit card to build your credit to buy a house. Well, we're going to debunk that this episode. Yes, we are. All right. But in order to live your life with such a different mindset, thinking like, how can I live life without a credit card? You have to have a moment when you say, you know what? I'm done. I've had it. And there are literally millions of people around the country who have had this moment. So I wanted to share a few of those stories with you today.
The moment I decided to be debt-free, I was sitting at the car dealership and I had just signed to get a different car. And the monthly payment I saw on that, I was like, I can't afford this. I don't want to have this payment. And so I had a little breakdown at the car dealership. I couldn't afford where we were staying and I couldn't afford my car. There was a few months where we relied on like a food pantry to get groceries and I needed to change for my kids. And I really felt like the stakes were high. I had to get this debt eliminated. Looking back, it was just God orchestrated everything. Little by little, I mean, I was putting away like $10 a week. It's really motivating just seeing money getting put in there. I feel beyond blessed. Just like a burden lifted off my shoulders to be able to pay off that debt and be debt-free.
When we first started dating, I would only have a card for emergencies. And then I had an emergency and swiped the card, and then before I knew it, then the cards racked up.
Well, I just got tired of like always getting paid, put money in my savings, pay my credit card, and then I'm overdrafted. I'm like, yo, something's not working out here.
We were still scared in the beginning to join bank accounts. It's so counterculture. So he was doing his plan and I was doing my plan, and it was gonna take us twice as long to get out of debt. And so we had to get on the same page. We had to.
When we, did this together, how powerful is that, what our monies can do together?
We were able, because of the debt snowball, to pay off his entire credit card, $7,000 in 1 month. Gets me emotional, actually.
It's a beautiful thing,
To know that everything is actually good. That we're gonna be able to have a baby and not be, literally have financial peace.
I love seeing those moments in people's lives. And for most people to do something radical, you have to have that moment in your life where you said, you know what, I'm done. I've had it. Now, if you're ready to have your own I've had it moment and you never want to worry about money again, Financial Peace University is what you need to do to get started. It has helped over 5 million people start winning with money. And I've put a little sneak peek of the first lesson in the show notes just for you. And when you begin this journey, you're going to have so many people telling you that it's just not possible to live without debt, and especially without a credit card. Friends are going to tell you that, family's going to tell you that, commercials are going to tell you that. But let me give you some truth about credit cards. There are currently 459 million credit cards in circulation today, and only 327 million people living in America. That's like 132 million extra cards that are not assigned to a person, but they're floating around, but they are assigned to people because the average person carries 4 credit cards. 68% of people who use their credit cards said they used it on things that they need. But the most common type of credit card are the ones they sell you at retail stores. Yes, 41% of people have store-specific credit cards. And last I checked, not many emergencies can happen where J. Crew swoops in and solves your problems. Maybe a fashion emergency, but no other emergency. Store credit cards, actually, you guys, they are the worst you can get. Their interest rates are nearly double of traditional credit cards. So let's just assume that you accumulate $1,000 of debt on a store credit card. This is actually way lower of a balance than the average American, but it's just a nice round number. I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt. And let's say you pay 2 times the minimum payment every month on your balance. For a store credit card with a 25% interest rate, it's gonna take you 27 months and cost you $307 in interest to pay off that balance. So let's say you signed up for that credit card when they said, would you like to save 15% on your purchase today? And you said, yes. And let's assume that you spent that whole $1,000 we talked about earlier when you signed up for that store credit card, which is pretty unlikely, but let's just say you did. That 15% saves you $150, but you end up spending $307 in interest. Guys, let it sink in. It's just math, people. And then you look at the facts that the profits from places like Macy's credit cards make up nearly 40% of their businesses. And stores like Kohl's and Macy's, they actually pay their employees for each credit card application they get. It doesn't even matter if the application is approved, but the employees get a commission for just getting someone to sign up for a credit card. And some stores even threaten to take away hours from employees who are not signing up enough people for credit cards. It's a huge problem. And you guys, I know a lot of people who sign up for credit cards with really good intentions. They do it for the points because they think they can pay it off every month, but it's just not the reality. Only 45% of people pay off their credit card balances every month. And there's $784 billion in outstanding credit card debt out there. Half of Americans are not paying off their credit card bill. So the bottom line is, credit cards are not going to help you build wealth. They're actually going to steal it. Because again, I said it earlier at the top of this episode, but it's true. So many people say, well, I'm gonna get a credit card to build my credit so that I can buy a house. But you actually don't need a credit score to buy a house. It is possible. So up next, I'm gonna talk to a couple who bought a house without a credit score. So check out their story. Guys, let's be real. Being a parent is hard work. Now that I have 2 daughters of my own, it feels like the to-do list never ends. And as every parent knows, your priorities change and you have to make important decisions for your child's future. That's why term life insurance is a must for every parent. It's so easy to get and it's affordable. What you're looking for is 10 to 12 times your annual income to make sure everyone in your family is taken care of. Winston and I use Zander Insurance. They do all the work for you to find the best prices and options. So go to Zander.com to get started on a quote today, because that's who we trust to take care of our family.
When we got married, we had a combined total of about $30,000 in debt. About a year and a half into our marriage, he got offered a job in Nashville, came here as a contractor. We knew we did not want to buy a house when he was a contractor.
See, I wanted to buy a house, but she's like, no, let's just wait.
The sticker price on the houses was quite shocking. We had had some financial discussions before we got married. He knew how I felt about debt and credit cards. Financial Peace University was just kind of the final thing that brought him on board. But Stephen was very skeptical.
Very skeptical.
He decided that he would try it and just see if it worked, see if this crazy plan worked, and it did.
I knew that God would push us through regardless of what it was, so I was like, all right, let's try this.
Shortly after the birth of our first son, we paid off our final debt and became completely debt-free. Then we decided it was time. We just knew it was time. We had outgrown our house. We lived in a 750 square foot duplex.
I mean, I honestly didn't think it was possible to buy a house with no credit, but by working through the steps, it works out pretty well.
It's part of the plan. You know, Dave Ramsey has it in his book, step-by-step plan of how to do it. It works.
Well, thanks, Amanda and Stephen, for being here and sharing your story. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Yes. Okay. So I want to know, because we're talking about manual underwriting, because a lot of people believe you have to be in debt to get a great credit score to buy a house. And we know that that is not true. So you guys went through the manual underwriting process to buy a new home. So tell me first and foremost, what caused you to buy a new home? Why did you go into the home buying process?
We were in a very small, tight space, 750 square feet with me, her, and 2 little boys.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
A little bit of craziness.
Yes.
Some chaos.
Yes.
Yeah. So you guys
way too close together.
Yes. So you wanted to kind of upgrade, get some more space. So then you go through the manual underwriting process. So tell me all about that from start to finish. Like, what'd you do? Who'd you contact? How did it work?
It was a bit of a process to find a mortgage company who would work with us.
Yeah.
The first 2 mortgage companies I talked to, they told me that they would work with us because I was very upfront with them.
Yeah.
I told them, you know, we're debt-free. We've been debt-free for 3 years. We have a 0 credit score, no credit score. You know, do you do manual underwriting?
Yeah.
And they told me yes. And they took my information and ran my credit. Of course, it was no credit score.
Yes.
And they called me and said, oh, well, you do in fact have no credit score. It was like they don't believe me.
I'm not lying. Yeah.
Exactly.
And when we seen the emails, it's like, well, yeah, we told you this from the beginning, so
Yeah.
why would you even try to run it? We
Right.
have nothing.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And one of them told me to go finance furniture. That
Oh, interesting.
yes, that if I was desperate enough to buy a house, you know, like that, then I would.
That's what we'd have to do.
Yeah,
Have to do that. Go into debt. Wow.
Yes.
Wow. And you
Yes.
said, well, not us.
Yes, that was not an option.
Not Amanda and Stephen. So.
That's right.
The other one told me to get a credit card, find something that I order every month,
Yeah.
such as pet food,
Yes.
and just
Build up a credit score that way.
Yes,
But
and
then,
it would
so it
take.
took 3. So your third one.
Yeah, and so I called Churchill because
Yes.
I knew that they advertised with Dave Ramsey.
I love it. So they worked with you.
Yeah, so I called them and they worked with us.
Yes.
It was a wonderful process.
I think that's such a great point because on the show, we're talking about sometimes living without debt. There's some inconveniences, right? Like there's some things like rental car companies, not all of them will rent you a car if you don't have a credit card. Some of them will if you have a debit card. So there's just things you have to kind of work around. And this possibly being one of them. That to do manual underwriting, it takes a little bit more effort. It's not the shoe-in of like, oh yeah, here's my great credit score and anyone will take me.
Yes.
No, some of them may not understand. And so it takes some calls and a little bit of the inconvenience. But how worth the inconvenience versus having to pay for furniture, right, that you went and got into debt for this new house. So like, I think it's a great example that it is still possible. It is so great.
Yes,
okay,
ma'am.
so all this whole process for you all, you got out of debt, you worked through the plan. I want to know, like, did your friends and family know you guys were doing all of this?
They didn't. They thought we were crazy. They're like, this is not going to happen.
Seriously?
Definitely.
Yes. So you had some naysayers say that it's not possible.
There's always naysayers.
Absolutely. And so looking back now over your story, would you say this whole journey has been worth it? That
Oh, yes.
getting out of debt, doing the manual underwriting, like where you sit today, is it worth it?
Yes.
Definitely.
It is worth it. It's always worth it.
Do it and then continue to pursue.
Yeah. And kind of like my husband was at first, just try it. And I promise it'll work for you.
Yes. So you weren't the one fully on board then.
Oh, I wasn't. No, she was.
Okay. So tell me about that. How'd you get on board?
She convinced me. She was just like, hey, well, let's try this. And I was like, I don't think so. But I was like, okay, we're going to try it. And it's like, if it fails, I can always fall back on this one.
Sure.
Okay, sounds good to us. And that's what we did. And
Yes.
so
Okay.
far
So what
succeeded.
made you think that maybe it wouldn't work, getting out of debt and living a debt-free life?
it sounded like it was a crazy idea. Like,
Yeah.
the way that everybody pushes everything. It's like, hey, you have to have this and you have to have that and you have to have a good credit score to get everything, and then you don't.
Yep. So great. So good. Well, you guys are awesome. Work the plan. You're a living testimony to the fact that you can live life without debt, without credit cards, still get a mortgage because it's the one type of debt we won't yell at you for. Remember that. And you can do all of that, again, living debt-free. So that's awesome, you guys. Thank you so, so much for coming on and sharing your story.
Thank you for having us.
We love finding new ways to save money. We lower categories in our budget, buy things on sale, and even use coupons. But we often forget about the biggest expense we have, and I'm talking about your mortgage. If you have been in your home for a while, there may be options available that can save you money, not just pocket change, but real money. The best way to get started and see what options you have is by the Churchill Checkup by Churchill Mortgage. A quick call with an expert home loan specialist can help you figure out what's best for you and discover incredible opportunities to save time and money. To get your Churchill Checkup, go to churchillmortgage.com/Churchill-checkup. See, you guys, it is possible. And I believe you can do it too. You just have to believe in yourself sometimes. Coach Rachel coming up. All right, now here are some reasons that a lot of people think that they need a credit card and what entices them to sign up for the credit card. But I want to debunk some of these perks for you. All right, travel perks. This is a huge one right now. It's really popular. Even earlier this year, a particular airline offered free flights for the companion of your choice to accompany you on any flight that you book if you sign up with your credit card. But listen, the terms were that you had to spend $4,000 within 3 months. So by the time everything was totaled up, processed, and added to your account, you were rushed to spend $4,000 for half of the year to get a buy one, get one free flight. But the average price of a ticket was $151, which means you would have to take 27 flights by the end of the year to break even. Now, if you have the TIME to do that, I'll switch with you. Who has time? No one's got time for that. And in fact, there are 20 trillion unused airline miles. Now the reward points, but I get points. Okay, this is another one I hear all the time because I think credit cards are helping them out. But you guys, 31% of people don't even use their points. And when you do, you still have to pay taxes and fees on your purchase. So all of a sudden that free purchase isn't free anymore. Another one is cash back. All right, guys, this is just not a very smart one. Let's just look at the math. If you get 1% cash back, which is what most cards offer, and you spend $300 on your credit card, you get $3 back. Okay, not a great deal, especially since studies show that people spend up to 100% more using a card versus cash. So it's not really cash back because it would be cash that you wouldn't be spending if you didn't have that credit card. We gotta think, people, we gotta think. All right, fraud protection. Never understood this one. If you do some research and you know, a debit card is just as safe as a credit card, I promise. Also up is the build your credit myth. All right, this is a huge lie that we have believed for decades and decades. People are worshiping at the idea of their credit score. Okay, your credit score is not an indicator of wealth. You literally could inherit $1 million, like right this second, from Aunt Ira in Idaho, and your credit score wouldn't change 1 point, okay? So it's not an indication that you're winning with money. It's an I love debt score. And your FICO score has absolutely nothing to do, again, with how much money you have. No, so do not open up a credit card to help you build your credit, because the main reason you have a credit score is to get you into more debt. And we've already talked about you can buy a house without a credit score, the one type of debt that I'm not mad at you for. Okay, but the FICO score, the credit score can be really complicated. So I put a link in the show notes to tell you more about that if you want to check it out. Now, some of you might be thinking, but what about renting a car, renting an apartment, getting a hotel room? Listen, you can do all of those things with a debit card. Now, are there some inconveniences with that? Yes, there will be some rental car companies you cannot rent from, but there are rental car companies that will rent it for you, okay? So there are some inconveniences. But if you think about it, conveniences in life, just making it convenient, ends up costing you more in the long run. Like, think about fast food. Love me some fast food right now. But is it convenient? Yeah, it's really convenient, but it's not like the best thing for you, right? Convenience stores, they always jack up their prices because it's just easy to run in and out. It's always more expensive than going to like a bigger store, right? So like conveniences are going to cost you. So here's the deal about credit cards, you guys. Do some people get all the points and you flew to Europe for free? You pay yours off every month. Are there people like that do it? Yeah, there are. But majority of people, like we just explained in this episode, are not doing it. So it's not worth it. It's not worth it. If you play with snakes, you're gonna get bit. I'm telling you, spend your money. Do not depend on the bank. Don't play their little games. You need to get out of debt. You need an emergency fund, and you need to start building your retirement and investing. That's how you're gonna win in the long run, I'm telling you. Now, I know this is so much information. That's why I'm breaking it down in 2 episodes. So, everything that we talked about in this episode, though, will be in the show notes. So make sure to go and check that out. And stay tuned for next episode. If you go and subscribe right now to the channel, you won't miss next episode. We're going to talk about how to get out of debt and how to live with no payments. And be sure to check out my podcast for more tips and bonus episodes. All you have to do is search for The Rachel Cruze Show. Oh, what a great episode, you guys. Thanks for watching. And as always, be sure to take control of your money and create a life you love without credit cards.